Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum dear viewers. Today our topic is risk and return. My name is Muhammad Ammar, lecturer IBS Hangu campus, Kohat University of Sciences and Technology. Our lecture number 12. So today's our discussion topics are security, market line and determination of the required rate of return. As in our previous lecture, we have discussed about CAPM, capital asset pricing model. So the security market line defines the CAPM related to CAPM, how to find our stock risk or how we invest in our risky stocks to find the expected return. So there is the determination of the required rate of return, right? Security market line. So how we find our required rate of return? You can see the formula Rj is equal to Rf plus B beta into Rm minus Rf. So Rj denotes is the required rate of return for stock J. Rf denotes the risk-free rate of return. Bj is the beta of the stock J. My is the systematic risk of stock J. As we discussed about beta in our previous lecture, beta is the slope of characteristic line. So Rm denotes is the expected return for the market portfolio. Now we can discuss this formula in the next slide. You see there is a graph on horizontal axis. You see the systematic risk of beta, or there is a beta, and on vertical axis you see the required rate, required return, right? So this is the portion which shows the risk free return, and that one is the risk premium. So you see on the vertical axis Rm and Rf. Rf is your risk free, and Rm denotes the risk premium. Security market line. How we can get our beta or obtaining beta? We can use the historical data. If past best represents the expectations of the future, yes, we know that if you have a data, so you can get easily the beta, because the past best represent the expectations of the future. Adjusted betas have tendency to revert to the mean of 1. Can utilize combination of recent beta and mean. They have taken generally example to solve this formula, and beta being taken to 0.3 below than 1, and you can get 1.854. Now we can also solve the related example, how to find the expected return. Now see, there is the example. So determination of the required rate of return. The example given, Lisa Miller of the Basket Wonders is attempting to determine the rate of return required by the stock investor. Lisa is using a 6% RF, which is risk-free return, and a long-term market expected rate of return of 10%. A stock analyst following the firm has collected that the firm beta is 1.2. What is the required rate of return on the stock of Basket Wonder? I would like to tell you about the beta that we previously discussed in our lecture. There you see they have taken the firm beta is 1.2, which means it's greater than 1. If beta is greater than 1, that we know that being aggressive, that we have discussed in our previous lecture. So if they could take beta below than 1, that means it's a defensive strategy they could apply. So what is the required rate of return on the stock basket wonders? Now we can put these values in the previous formula to find the required rate of return. So you see, they put the values were given in that example. 6% is your risk-free rate, and the beta they have given is 1.2, Rm is 10%, and Rf is 6%, right? So we get the answer, which is 10.8%. The required rate of return exceeds the market rate of return as BW's beta exceeds the market beta 1. So simply, if we can check this same example for changing our betas, because they have taken there the beta which is 1.2, or I can say, if you take the same example and only change your beta. Now we have taken the beta which is greater than 1, which is 1.2, and we get the answer, that is 10.08, which tell us that on average the market expects to show the 10.8% annual return, because this BW stock has more systematic risk. Yes, we have previously discussed that if beta is greater than 1, which means there is more systematic risk, and if beta is less than 1, which denotes that there is lesser systematic risk. Now, if we put in the same example, let's we can say only 1.0, right, which is below than 1.2. So we can get the answer, let's say 10%. Yes, we know that 10% is below than 10.8%, right? And on the other hand side, if we put beta below than 1, let's say 0.8, then obviously we can get the answer, let's say 9 point something. So they tell us about that if beta is greater than 1, which has more systematic risk, and if we have the beta below than 1, which denotes that there is less systematic risk. So through this we are able to get our required rate of return, and in this lecture we talk about basically to find the required rate of return and the determination of the required rate of return. So we have taken an example to find the required rate of return for the BW stock, and we get the answer, that is 10.8%. And for the same example, if we can put or change our beta below than 1 or equal to 1, also we have discussed generally about this, because we know that if beta is greater than 1, that there is the systematic risk should be greater, and below than 1 it's lesser in systematic risk. So these are the related links. If you can watch the video regarding this lecture, these are the related videos. You can visit YouTube channel, or you can also visit the related links to get your more knowledge about this topic. Thank you from my side, and stay blessed.